Welcome back to the third episode of STEAM Sundays. Today, we'll be taking a deeper dive into Elastic. But first, what is Elastic?
It's not a rubber band. It's a driver-focused dashboard designed for use behind the glass competitions, aiming to optimize performance, manage bandwidth, and enhance the user experience. It was developed primarily by POBots alum who graduated in 2024, along with our entire programming team. Elastic was created to serve as an upgrade to the traditional shuffleboard dashboard, which many teams are familiar with.
Elastic was designed to be flexible, offering a significant improvement over the traditional shuffleboard, which is often plagued by bugs, consumes excessive memory, and uses too much bandwidth. With its customizable features and the power of Flutter, Elastic features a library of interactive widgets to enhance functionality and the overall user experience.
Recently, Elastic has stretched globally, reaching every continent with an FRC team. Its impact has been so significant that it was added to the WPILib library, which is downloaded by 99% of first teams. To date, we have one of only 6 teams whose custom software has been added to the WPILib.
Even though Elastic was initially designed for use by just one team, it is now part of the official WPILib documentation, meaning that all first teams in the world have access to it. According to its founder, Nadav, last year at Worlds, I was walking around in the pits and I was shocked by how many teams I saw using it.
With that said, now it's time to welcome a special guest, none other than the founder himself, Nadav Marcus-Neuman.
Hey Nadav, nice to see you again. Why don't you introduce yourself for the people who don't know you?
My name is Nadav. I am an alum of Team 353. I graduated in 2024. I am a first-year student at Binghamton University, and I plan on pursuing a degree in computer engineering. I'm also the developer and maintainer of Elastic, which is a dashboard used in FRC.
Nice. Okay, so for people who are more new to robotics and may not have heard about Elastic, what is it and why is it important?
It's a driver-focused dashboard. It's meant to be used behind the glass at competitions. It was made with a priority in optimization, conserving network bandwidth, and also having a streamlined user experience.
What caused you to make Elastic? Was it a single moment or something you had thought about for a long time?
It wasn't really a single moment. It was a combination of events that led together, but it can be traced back to the 2023 World Championship. I was talking to a lot of the teams there who I know have made custom software, and there was one team in particular that made a custom logging system, which I was very interested in. I asked about how they made it and how it works, and the programmer that made it recommended that I learn a UI framework called Flutter. He said there's a lot of use cases for it, and he's had a great time working with it. I also got to speak with the team that made the popular path generation tool called Path Planner, and I asked what is this made in, and the developer said it's made in Flutter. And after Champs, I was talking with a mentor who is remotely helping the team, and I was telling him about all these interesting softwares I saw people making and how they were custom making their own logging systems and dashboards. He said, well, if you want help with dashboard development, I have a ton of experience in that. And so I decided I wanted to learn Flutter, and I decided as a way of getting familiar with it, I would make a dashboard with it that other teams could use.
That's nice, really interesting. I know with your dashboard, you've been revolutionizing the landscape of FIRST as a whole, but what recent things for you have been happening in Elastic, and what impact has Elastic had on the FIRST community?
I'd say the biggest new additions have been the additional new contributors that have been working on it. There's several people from other parts of FIRST that have made submissions and helped make new features in the dashboard. In particular, there's one programmer from a team in Israel who's made a ton of new quality of life features that have been so small but have had such a large impact on how easy it is to find data and add widgets to the grid, and also some internal restructuring too. But the largest has been its addition into the standard WPILib installer, which makes it a lot easier for new teams to discover it, and also makes the setup process much quicker, as now you no longer have to install it separately. It's on every computer that has WPILib on it.
Nice. So I know in the past, many teams have used shuffleboard. So how does Elastic kind of improve upon shuffleboard, and where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
But one big addition compared to shuffleboard is, well, shuffleboard has a very long history of aiding teams. In its recent years, a lot of the original developers of it have since moved on from WPI-lib, and so it's become somewhat out of date with the standardized first programming conventions. For instance, for a while it hadn't fully adapted to Network Tables 4, and which would cause it to consume a lot of bandwidth. There was also a lot of small bugs that would cause it to either need restarting, or it would crash, or it would take up a lot of memory. But one of the biggest additions was what's called scope creep, where it introduces features that sort of take away its focus as a driver dashboard and add in elements that, while will be convenient, might be better left to some other tools. And so having it focused solely as a dashboard that you would only use behind the glass and maybe for testing or small debugging in the pit has made it much easier to maintain.
Right, nice. That's really, really interesting. So I want to get into the numbers a little bit. So quantifying Elastic's impact, where have you seen it been used, and maybe how many downloads did it have? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Also, in terms of download count, the answer is I really just don't know how many total teams are using it, and I have no issue with it. I love the mystery of it, but every once in a while I'll see that. I'll see like a team picture, and I'll see in the background Elastic will be on their dashboard. In the championship, I was just walking around the pits, and I was giving stickers to all the teams that were using it as a way of saying thank you. And I saw there's so many more teams there than I expected using it. And several of the end of season videos and highlight reels of the championship they showed towards the end of the season, I saw Elastic visible on all sorts of computers. When I made it, my original goal was for just one team to use it, because I put so much work into documenting it and making sure that it would be adaptable to any team, not just ours. And at the Half Hollow Hills Invitational in the off-season of 2023, I saw there was a team that was using my dashboard, and from there I knew that I just reached my goal. Now let's see where it can go from here.
Right. Wow, that's really, really impressive. I wanted to touch back on one of the points you said, that Elastic has actually been put into the official WPI-lib documentation. Could you explain a little bit more about what that actually means?
It means for teams around the world, any team that installs WPI-lib, which will be about 99% of them, as it's essential for writing robot code and developing in FRC, means all of them will have access to Elastic on their computer without having to do anything extra. So while it doesn't mean that they'll have to use it, and I encourage them to use whatever they feel is best, it does open up its accessibility to a lot of teams that might not be as active on online platforms and might not have originally known about it.
All right, nice. And now my final question to you is, for anybody who's interested in getting into programming or software development or anything of the sorts, what kind of advice do you have for them?
Do what you love doing. That's really all I could say. And that's really how I learned programming. I've never really followed a course. I didn't really have a guide. I would just think of an app I wanted to make, look into how to make it, and I would ask a lot of questions of how could I add this? How could I make this do that? And from that, I've learned so many interesting things in both software and also just how computing works. And that's why I wanted to pursue a degree in STEM and computing.
All right. Thank you so much, Nadav, for this interview. It's been really, really insightful. I hope to see you again soon, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of STEAM Sundays. If Elastic has inspired you, the POBots want to remind you that it's never too late to start learning. As Nadav himself puts it, do what you love doing. That's really all I can say, and it's how I learned programming.
With that, thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you in our next episode. A huge thank you to Nadav and all of our alumni for your continued support. Be sure to join us next Sunday, February 1st at 12 p.m. Eastern for the next episode of STEAM Sundays.